Norfa XXL Pictures and Ogmius Entertainment presents The History of the World's Most Irrational Investments, or the Panavagis City presentation for MIPIM 2005 Cannes. 3000 BC, the ancient empire of Egypt's economy is in its prime. New Egyptians are in search of potential investments to make their new money work. The architect Imhotep is tasked by Pharaoh Cheops to design a monument glorifying his memory and power. But every new project is either too small or shallow for the great mind of the investor. The sad architect makes a proposal for something huge, both wide and tall. Everybody loves it. The location chosen is in a spectacular desert, despite the lack of communications and access by public transport. The construction lasts for over 20 years, and the object fails to be finished on time because Panavagis Construction Trust had no international certification. Neither the building nor the client's name live on in infamy. In 1492, Christopher Columbus discovers America. Later, in 1612, Dutch sailor Henry Christensen decides to spend his winter on his own on the island of Manhattan, but fails to make any payment to the Indian Council for his stay. Ultimately, he ends up paying for it with his head. A little more than a decade later, in 1626, his follower Peter Menuet negotiates a discount from the council and buys Manhattan for $24, infrastructural taxes included. After a brief 360-year investment period passes, Manhattan is the world's premier city with 200 skyscrapers, 17,000 restaurants and cafes, 200,000 shops, 250 theaters, 500 museums, 17,000 hotel rooms, 30,000 incoming ships, and over 10,000 exhibitions a year. 1905, the Arizona Desert Railroad construction. Exhausted railwaymen pitched their tents for the night. After opening a few bottles and swallowing quite a few more gulps, the tent town takes on the name Las Vegas. The vision develops, and the foundation of a saloon is announced. In spite of strict liquor laws, illegal casinos and bars begin to prosper. And when the visionary city government legalizes gambling in Nevada, the gamble pays off. In 1995, Las Vegas had 1 million inhabitants and 30 million tourists a year, 725 restaurants, 33,000 slot machines, if you count the ones in the bathrooms, 13,000 blackjack tables, thousands of chapels for a quick and hassle-free marriage. Julio Iglesias even gives regular performances. The Mirage constructs a volcano that erupts every 15 minutes in a tropical jungle inhabited by tigers with an aquarium full of white sharks. The pink elephants don't appear until dawn. 1889, Paris readies itself for the World Fair. Gustave Eiffel's construction company suggests the idea of a 300-meter-high tower, which is not only completely useless, but will also ruin the Paris skyline. The city community is unhappy, but the mayor signs a temporary permit for a 20-year period. The demand to see the city from the sky reaches the sky itself. The original investment is returned during the first year alone. The tower becomes the symbol of Paris. The Moulin Rouge windmill turns jollier. Painters flood the attics of the Montmartre. Lovers kiss on the bridges of Seine, and the Louvre is crowded with tourists. 1958, the United Arab Emirates. The young Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum was sad, lonely, and wondered why his deserts were not interesting to any investors, even for $24. But the heavens saved him by striking oil in 1966. Just a few years later, 40 airports, 19 free trade zones, the world's most luxurious hotel and city was built in the sea. Taxes were abolished, turning the entire country into a shopper's paradise. In the 1990s, more than 100 airplanes filled with shoppers from all over the world landed daily. 1950, Cape Canaveral, Florida. The president renames the military aviation base to the Cape Canaveral Kennedy Space Center. Consistently, the center gets more and more crazy and weird tasks. For example, sending a man to the moon, though he has left nothing there. The world's largest spaceship construction center is built. 2002, Vilnius, Lithuania. The construction of the largest submarine in the world is completed. 2004, Panavagis, in the center of Lithuania. 119,000 inhabitants. The midway point between two Baltic capitals, Riga and Vilnius. The mayor gives the green light to 4 projects, certain to enter the chronicles of world history. Ascent number 1. The Panavagis Entertainment and Sports Center, the biggest multifunctional arena in the Baltic states with an Olympic standard cycle track. Its primary target, gold medals for the Lithuanian basketball team in 2011 when the European Basketball Championships are held in Lithuania. The investment, approximately 29 million euros. Ascent number 2. The Logistic Park. Its primary target, the main axis of Europe transit and cargo flow to Russia. The investment, approximately 250 million euros. Ascent number 3. The Sweet Narrow. Its primary purpose, the longest entertainment route by the historic narrow gauge railway, complete with tourism infrastructure. The investment, approximately €10 million. Asset number 4, Babilonas, the final model of the great city. Shopping centers, office buildings, residential districts, and sunrise industry areas. The investment, approximately €375 million. The end of part 1.